All right, folks, I have now finished my berry area. Though I haven't planted the strawberries in here yet, they'll be planted later because I'll just be propagating the runners from a bunch of my other strawberries that I've had in the ground for 3 years now. So, but I've got all my, this is all blackberries, raspberries, and just a few grapes in here. But I'm going to put a big arbor in here eventually, and those grapes will kind of grow over that and take over that, as well as the blackberries. But I just want to show you guys the drip irrigation system here. It's really simple, and it's a system that I kind of dialed in over the years. I kind of do the same thing every time I set up drip. So let's take a look. All right, for starters, let's just talk about where the water comes from. So I've got some deep under this where I backfilled this greenhouse. I've got some lines that come through here. They're not winterized. And that's that line there. So all this stuff would get blown out during, before the end of October, basically, because you don't need drip over winter. But line tees off underneath here, comes up in here. You can see there's an on-off just to turn it all off. And then I've just got a simple orbit timer. I love these timers. I find they're very consistent and they're cheap. So I use them for a lot of stuff. And so that comes in here. And then it comes out as a 3/4 inch line. So that line is all buried underneath here. Probably 6 inches underneath the sand. Comes out here. It tees off and runs a line to these two beds. And it tees off from, this is 3/4 here. This tees off to 1/2 inch to go to those two beds. And then it comes up, it elbows, and then it goes to a 1/2 inch line. So the lines that service the beds here are 1/2 inch, non-pressurized, just standard poly drip tubing. And then this is what each bed looks like. So it comes up to the tee, comes up, and I've made these sort of movable because these beds are going to sink down quite a bit. And they've sunken down quite a bit already because we've had a lot of rain lately, so it's kind of nice. And because these are such mounded up beds, I don't want to have overhead irrigation on here because it's just going to erode and keep rolling it down. And so I don't want that. So I'm just doing drip. So come up, it's all 1/2 inch line. I always put an on-off on every single bed. That way, if I don't need to water each bed, then I can turn it off. Or sometimes if I want to service something and I need to turn it off, I always just do that. It's just, it's good practice. And for most, like say for garden beds in a big block, I don't necessarily do this, but in this case, I decided to. And you could make the case whether you need to or not, but that's up to you. So anyways, comes up, elbow, and then T, and then elbow. And those are just standard modulock couplings. And I only need 2 lines on this. I could do 1, but I like 2. I like to have it on both sides of the crop. And so that just comes through. And then on the ends of these, I just cut scrap pieces of a poly that's one size bigger, and then I use that to pinch it off. So I just fold the line on itself, put that through, and that's it. And it's all running, and it's working great. So I've got a grape. These are all raspberries. High density because I want a lot of crop this year, and I'll thin them out and pull them out and put them in other places over the years. So I've basically gone with 1 foot spacing, which is quite dense for raspberries, but that's okay. I'm going to thin them out. And then for the blackberries, they're at about, this bed is at just under, it's like 2.5 foot spacing. There's a grape, so this is going to come up and be trellised onto this trellising system eventually. And blackberries can grow onto the trellis too. So these are all blackberries, and this is all blackberry, the same thing, with a grape on the end. So basically this is finished for now. There's 2 other things that'll happen here over the next little while. One is I could, and I will, do an arbor system in here, but I could get away with not doing that this year because these crops aren't going to grow enough to really utilize that. So I could put that off for next season if I like. And then I'm going to either mulch the ground here with a nice coarse wood chip if I can get it. I haven't been able to find a place locally where I can get those. Or I might just do a thin layer of soil on top of this sand and then seed clover. So I might do that as well. But that's it for this space for now.